Insecurity remains one of the most pressing challenges confronting Nigeria. Now, it's affecting every sector of society from business to education, yes, with emphasis education to transportation, agriculture, and community life. Now, despite ongoing efforts by security agencies, the persistence of threats such as banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, armed robbery, and communal conflicts continues to undermine national stability. Now, insecurity drawbacks, which is the discuss of today to society efforts in Nigeria, we're going to highlight the many obstacles that weaken the nation's progress towards building a safe and peaceful environment. Now, these drawbacks include limited resources, inadequate intelligence gathering, poor coordination among security agencies, and slow judicial processes. Now, porous borders and insufficient community cooperation. Now, additionally, let's talk about social economic factors such as unemployment, poverty, and limited access to education. This also contributes to the cycle of insecurity. Now, for some, this could encourage stakeholders, government, security institutions, communities, and citizens to really examine the root causes of insecurity and then identify practical solutions. It can also emphasize the importance of collaboration, information sharing, and trust building to strengthen security operations. Now, ultimately, addressing the drawbacks to Nigeria's security efforts is essential for creating a safer country where people can live freely, businesses can grow, and communities can thrive. Children can go to school without being afraid. Now, today I am being joined by Prince Kelvin Fineface. He's a security and energy consultant, public good advocate. Do not go anywhere. Global Morning with the second discuss of the day continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily, while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest. You are welcome back, and it's Global Morning on Global Television, and this is the second discuss of the day. And like I mentioned before, I am being joined by Prince Kelvin Fineface. He is a security expert and, of course, a public good advocate. Good morning, Prince. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Timaya. I'm fine, thank you.
And thank you for joining me in such short notice. Thank you so much. Now, looking at this particular topic, talking about insecurity, drawbacks to security efforts in Nigeria. Now, we're going to be looking at the many obstacles that weaken the nation's progress towards building a safe and peaceful environment. What are these drawbacks that you see when it comes to the military, when it comes to communal security and all of that? And we'll quickly delve into what took place in Kebbi State, the 25 schoolgirls that were kidnapped, and of course, Donald Trump coming to interfere. All of these things encompassed. Let's quickly talk about it, Kevin.
Well, there's something I think we miss as a nation, or the citizens of this country miss as a nation, which is that insecurity currently has a type of ongoing concern relationship. What I simply mean is that there are people who are feeding fast from the number of insecurity that we have in the different parts of the country. And as such, it has become more like a business to some. And that is why you see the likes of Sheikh Gumi, oftentimes, wandering around the place of let's accommodate these people. There are people like us, let's negotiate with them, and he oftentimes presents himself as a negotiator because that's what makes him more relevant, to make more money at the same time, get these people on his side. You also have people who provide logistics for these guys. I give you a case in mind now. The brigadier general that was recently, allegedly, said to have been killed by these bandits. even though the military hasn't come out with a statement for now. But we saw text messages that, were shared, indicating internal sabotage, indicating, some form of, complicity with people inside. If you had indicated his location and later was captured, killed by this group, then it tells you that there are people inside, which means that initially the ambush was not just an ambush that happened by happenstance, but was an ambush as a result of insiders' information to undermine the group. So what is going on internally is an indication of this ongoing concern that I just mentioned. People are living far from it. So we also saw the Donald Trump made a statement, a tweet. He only made a tweet, and the tweet made Nigeria so. Oh, the next day we saw, ways by the military, kidnappings, a bit stop, rescue mission, killing of some of these bandits, papers, and all of that. We saw those move just by just one tweet from a president that is more than, 2,000 kilometers away, about 2,000 plus 1,000 kilometers away from us. We saw a change. Then suddenly we are getting, this kind of drawbacks. Why are we getting drawbacks? It shows also there are those who truly are wishing that the U.S. Army comes in to rescue Nigeria, so they will fuel the crisis more. There are also those who are looking at it as a window of making more money, because emergency preparedness in Nigeria is zero. So what happens is that whenever there's crisis, it's a window for them to now come up with emergency budgeting, because that's the only time you can actually vote for cash without going through the procurement process under the guise of emergency. But preparedness, we are zero. We don't have that in place.
You know what, Kevin, Mr. Kevin, I want to ask a very serious question. I don't know if this is a bother to you or it's just me or most Nigerians who are wondering. You are a security expert. Now, the abduction of those schoolgirls in Kebbi State that took place with the killing of their principal and, of course, the killing, of course, of the security guard, that his daughter also was kidnapped in the course of these terrorists invading the school. Would you say that this is a second Chibok experience in which we're going to have when we have, looking about inadequate intelligence gathering, poor coordination in our schools when it comes to these hits, these places where we call hits by these bandits, especially when it involves vulnerable schoolgirls in boarding schools?
Well, it's not related in the sense that Chibok was an orchestrated, act to undermine the government of the day in order to make it look bad, and also had an international template attached to it, because when the girls were kidnapped, they were still seen by satellite images. Efforts were not made to go rescue them, because Americans had the information, but they didn't share that information.
But these are all speculations, Now,
well, allegedly, let's put it that way. Then we saw the Nigerian government wanted to go rescue these girls. Oh, they looked at collateral damage that was going to take place, and that would let them be. Then we also saw the frustration caused by people of that region, especially the vice president who was there, the governor, didn't really help as much as expected of somebody who's indigenous or citizens have been kidnapped. And we also now also have that religious angle, because the girls, most of them were all Christians. They were kidnapped, and as such was also seen as a plus for jihadism, because they were either, traded as slaves or given out to other wives and as sex slaves also. We saw all of that happen. But this case now is a different case. It's also more like what I said earlier, that there are people internally who see this vehicle, who want to, increase the presence of the American government in Nigeria by taking certain actions to portray the need for that, intervention. And there are those also who are trying to also undermine the government of the day. How is it possible that you kidnap 25 plus girls?
2 have already escaped, by the way. 2 found their way, so they're 23.
It could also be the one that escaped was also let loose just to go give information. Just a way to, it's possible, very possible, because this is a game. we're in a theater, right? And so this is act one, scene one kind of zone. The girls' escape is act one, scene two. You understand? That's how I'm going to put it. So let me land with that thought I wanted to give an out.
Okay.
You notice that this whole thing has happened. How was it possible for these guys to move with these girls? How many vehicles did they use? Most cases, these guys use motorcycles in their Novas. Now, if they move with motorcycles and nobody saw them, nobody raised a alarm from the school, what was the safe school measures put in place? Having noticed and experienced Chibok, the international community came in more than $10 million donated for safe school initiative. Were they implemented? And what was the implementation plan that was put in place? What kind of programs and projects did they put in place in order to safeguard, protect these kids in schools, to ensure that they go to schools? Don't forget the fact that Boko Haram frowns at Western education, which means there would have been IT security measures put in place to ensure people go to school and safely so, right? So if those measures are not put in place, it now tells you the value of life, the importance placed in our security architecture mechanism. Why was it possible for them to just come in their numbers to kidnap these girls? It wasn't that the connivance, some people initiated this whole thing, let's go and kidnap these girls, let's call for ransom, because now people don't necessarily work anymore. They do kidnapping as a business. They have negotiators, they have financiers, they have operation guys, and all of that. So it's a big thing. I don't want to look at it from the surface. I want to ask questions that will actually help us to understand the dynamics of what's going on.
You know, when we talk about drawbacks of securities in Nigeria, let us look at the slow judicial processes and, of course, our porous borders. How does that affect some of these drawbacks that we have in performing our duties, especially when it comes to security agents and communal security involved in this when it comes to protecting lives and property?
Say that again.
I said, let us look at our judicial processes now. How does it contribute to some of the drawbacks that we have in securities in Nigeria? Let me just put it lightly.
Let me just cut you. I think I get the point now.
Okay.
We have a very, how do I put it? On your mandate, which shall stand kind of judiciary.
True.
We just saw recently where that happened. The judiciary was, we are also singing on your mandate, which shall stand. The first time in the history of this country, we've seen how the decline and the loss of hope to the common man, the judiciary. So you have arrests. We have, during the last administration, Buhari's time, Dubai released list of terrorist financiers. Some of them are in government. Some of them have religious positions in their
all speculations, Prince.
No,
because no names, there's no face to the name. So these for so much that we know, they are all speculations. So
I know that you're trying not to sound like you're supporting what I'm saying. What I'm saying, these are public information. I'm not giving you something that comes from me. No. Dubai released the list of terrorist financiers. There were pictures of those involved. Their names, we knew them. There was a publication that was done by Nigerian media also, showing us the names and pictures of these persons. Arrests have not been made, prosecutions have not been made to the understanding of the general public. That tells you something. Now, those who were also arrested,
then if arrests have not been made, Prince, I'm only trying to tell you, that means they are all speculations.
No, I mean, if the arrests have not been made to the public knowledge, then arrests have been made to the public. If they have been made, then let us know. There was a time that Senator Juma also was arrested as a result of terrorist relationship. I'm sure you're aware. But it's working free. Why? How? So we need to understand that the Nigerian judiciary needs to upgrade itself to meet up with the current realities. Because security is the bone of peace and economic activities in any given nation. And that also results in the place of judiciary. But you see, when the judiciary finds technicality to let people loose that are supposed to be in jails, then of course there's going to be a problem. We've seen scenarios of people who have been arrested for terror crimes. they're released one way or the other, either by jailbreak or by the courts finding fault in the prosecution processes, and they go back and go and kill those who reported them. See those kind of scenarios as a result of the failure of the judiciary doing what needs to be done. We've seen lawyers are also aiding this crime in the sense that they take money from these criminals, find a way to find a judge to bribe, allegedly so that at the end they get good or release or lesser, convictions, and then they go scot-free because of poor, investigative processes. They find those technical loopholes to release these people. So those are drawbacks, that oftentimes affect, proper security management in the country. And I think we can do better. Like I said, Nigeria's case is a dynamic situation that don't necessarily need just that approach of gloss over.
Now, talking about some of our drawbacks, let's look at our porous borders. I think we've not been able to nip that in the bud when it comes to how open our borders are, the free entry that are there with all of these bandits trooping into Nigeria. What's your take when it comes to that, Prince?
Because your line was back, I didn't get that. What did you say?
No, I said let's look at our porous borders, for instance, that these bandits easily just stroll into Nigeria and do what they want. How do you think, what's your take when it comes to our porous borders in trying to nip that in the bud and trying to curtail that aspect of our nation?
So why do we have porous borders?
And why have we not been able to at least manage it when it comes to insecurity in Nigeria?
I've spent in my adult life and since working for government at the time, which is like almost 30 years plus, we've always had porous borders. Now, there's a peculiarity that we have to also look at. In the northern region of this country, all our borders in the region are actually very porous. In the southern part of this country, all our borders are properly manned. To an extent, the borders in Calabar is manned. We do not have that influx of people coming in and out just like that. The borders that connects Taraba to Adamawa, some form of security measures are put in place some kind of way. But if not borders in Katsina, Borno, Sokoto, Kebbi, the part of Niger, both borders are porous. Why? Why is it that they are porous? Because, there's that, should I call it family ties thing? So because people from Niger are also people in Nigeria. So they intermarry there. In fact, we knew at the time that the late Buhari is also from Maradi or so, from the Niger. And as such, we had projects that were done. Railroad was done to that extent, and projects were established in the Niger. So that gives you an idea why we have porous borders and why it's easy for these criminal elements to come in. Most of the fact that they are also used for political gains. In 2014, we listened to Baraje, if I pronounce it properly, an APC chieftain who told us how they imported mercenaries to come defend, in quotes, their mandate should Buhari not win the election. Then there will be mayhem caused in the country. We also heard from El-Rufai. He also made the same statement. We've had that scenario where we've imported mercenaries from outside across the West African regions to come and destabilize the nation for political gains. So the borders are porous for political reasons and also for ethnic religious interests. Must sound it so, because there is a sentiment that goes with religious interests that is basically killing us as a country. There's a type of jihadism that is taking place that further strengthens the religious interests of the Muslims. Sorry to say it, and that's truth, because these people come in with the pursuit of jihadism, then later they end up creating some collateral damage that affect the Muslims themselves. So genocide, as we speak, has been taking place for a very long time in this country. Southern Katsina, most communities have been completely sacked, and you guys are in there that are not the original, because in Benue we're having the same thing. So we cannot be playing to the gallery and pretending about these realities. That's the truth. The truth is that there's a jihadism taking place on one hand, there is an economic, criminal element taking place on the other hand. There's also the sabotage taking place on the other hand. People imported some of these guys to this country for political reasons. Those people should be held accountable and be prosecuted. Then by so doing, we cannot have a way to flush out these criminal elements that are now embedded in our society, causing this mayhem, kidnapping people. Did you see what happened recently? There was an interview that was, not interview, there was a killing that took place, a killing of a police officer in Katsina State. The same guy that was killed is uniform taken, won by this terrorist element to a meeting called by the government for peace sake. And the guy wore the police officer's, the late police officer's uniform with his name tag on it. Nothing was done. So that tells you the kind of country that we're in. We saw them, I saw a video of them move to a wedding in their numbers and with their weapons. I saw another video of them, boasting so well on how they operate. Not that they know them, they know where they live. But because some of these guys were recruited to carry out some political moves, it's difficult for those who are recruited to go out to speak publicly because they lack the moral right to speak. Now, we're having more splinter groups. Why are we having splinter groups for this terrorist group? Because they have the benefit. Some of them have said that, look, it's better for them to work alone than to work with the politicians. So they break away to form their own groups. When they break, so they can also get a better kill. Because when they get this kill, they don't get enough of it, so they have to break away from the groups. Why are we having more splinter groups in the north? If you go to the south, you're also having the same thing happening. In the Middle West, in Middle Belt, you're having the same thing happening with kidnappings taking place in the numbers. Killings and kidnappings. You can't even travel from Abuja to Port Harcourt without having your heart in your hands to asking for mercy and prayer and all of that. It shouldn't be so. We can solve our insecurity problem as a country.
But I want to ask a question, Prince. I know you've said a lot when you talk about we solving our insecurity problems, but do you think that security agents, when you talk about the military, when you talk about the government, stakeholders who are involved, community, you and I as a citizen, we've not really examined the root causes of insecurity and, of course, let's see if we can even identify practical solutions. Do you think we've done that enough?
Well, you see, what is the root cause of insecurity? When there's a failure of government and poor governance, it breeds room for a type of insecurity, which is that you have economic insecurity, you have religious insecurity, you have political insecurity, you have also, so what I call mere social norm insecurity. If governance is seen to be good and effectively so, it means that there will be room for justice, there will be fairness, there will be equity, there will be equality, and there will be accountability. When you have this 4+1 principle working effectively, then you have an egalitarian society. It means people will be busy working, doing to productively so, without necessarily thinking of how to commit crime. Now, true governance ensures that there's energy supply, there is basic infrastructure, there is, good health care service, there is good educational system put in place. That's what true governance is. Then you now also see that there will be that equitable distribution of our commonwealth. There will be fairness that's given to everybody to ensure that people who are qualified for position are getting those positions. There will be equality before the law. No big man, no small man. Everybody will be equal before the law. That's what true governance is. In so doing, people will not be feeling aggrieved to want to carry up arms to think of how to secede from a country like we found with the Biafra case.
Okay.
In so doing, you don't find people who want to say they want to pursue religious interests.
Okay.
And say they want their own type of, government or the theocracy, a type of theocracy to want to be implemented.
Okay.
By so doing, you will also have people who will be productively engaged and not be thinking of petty crimes.
Very true. Very true.
My neighbor was here. I live in City View, Taco, just 2 days ago. Haprobas entered our estate. Why would they come in? Because this is the season also for them to begin to try their luck to see what they can get. So estates need to begin to reinforce their security and ensure those who are working for them as security guards are properly vetted,
Very true,
monitored, because they too can be the ones that will commit these crimes, like I experienced 2 years ago.
all right, all right.
I experienced that in my neighborhood. I was robbed 2 times, 4 times they came, succeeded 2 times because of internal, faults. Those who came to rob me were part of those who were working for us as security guards.
All right.
So what I'm saying is, in essence, is simple. Let's see how we can focus on true governance. And the best way to do that is for the media and government agencies responsible for orientation, then the Independent National Electoral Commission, to properly educate the Nigerian electorate.
Exactly.
That the voters card is the most powerful tool in the democracy.
Of course,
that
of course.
legitimizes the office and the occupier of that office. If we understand this principle, we know that the voter is a king. They will have the right social contract to put the right people into office.
All right. Okay, Prince. All right, Prince Kevin Fineface. Of course, thank you so much for being a part of Global Morning and the security, the second phase of the program, Global Morning, talking about insecurity, drawbacks of securities in Nigeria. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. And Prince Kevin Fineface, he's a security and energy consultant, public good advocate. Thank you so much for being a part of the program.